Hello and welcome to Pabbly. So in this video, we are going to learn how to add age-based condition in Pabbly Connect workflow. Now suppose guys, you are getting some data of a user from some trigger application. Let's take an example of Pabbly Form Builder. You have created an online form and using this form submission in form response, you are getting the date of birth of the user. They are entering their date of birth and submitting the form. Now from that date of birth, you want to actually calculate the age of the user, and on the basis of age, you want to decide that what are the action steps should be followed in your automation workflow. Let's take a simple example, like you are getting the date of birth of the user from form submission, and if the age of that user who has submitted the form is above 18 years, you want to add that data into a particular Google Sheet. And if the age of that user is below 18 years, in that case, you want to add the data in some other Google Sheet. So here we just took an example of Pabbly Form Builder and adding the data into Google Sheet. But you can actually perform or add this kind of conditional logic on the basis of age for any application in your automation workflow. So how you can get the age and how you can add these kind of filter condition in your automation workflow. To know this, you just have to come with me to my screen.
So as you can see, here we are on Pabbly Connect's dashboard. Now to reach this dashboard, you will get a free sign-up link of Pabbly Connect in the description box below. By clicking on that link, you can create your free Pabbly Connect account in just 2 minutes. Now after reaching to this dashboard, just click on Create Workflow and give this workflow a name. For example, I would like to name my workflow as Pabbly Form Builder to Google Sheets. Basically the two applications which we are going to use as an example in this video. But instead of this, you can basically give any name of your choice and then just click on Create. Now you can see that our workflow is open over here. And in this workflow, we have two different windows. First one is the trigger window and second one is the action window. So triggers and actions are basically those two concepts, those two principles on which this whole automation works on, where the trigger says when this happens and the action says do this. So let's begin with the trigger window. Now just for an example, let's assume that I have created an online form using Pabbly Form Builder. Now here in this video, I just used Pabbly Form Builder or an online form building application like this just for an example. Instead of this, you can get the details from anywhere you want. You can select any trigger of your choice. Now suppose in this form, I'm asking the user some details like their first name, last name, email, mobile number and date of birth. And I want to add the form responses, this form submission data to my Google Sheet. But here in my Google Sheet as well, I have created two different sheets. First one is the sheet for the users, for the people who are submitting the form and who has an age of 18 years and above. And there is a second sheet in which I'm going to enter the details of the users who has an age below 18 years. So whatever date of birth the user is going to enter, on that basis, we are going to set up a condition in our Pabbly Connect workflow that in which particular sheet, the responses or the details of form responses of that user should be added over here. So we are going to set up a condition in such a way inside Pabbly Connect. So before doing that, let's start with our trigger window. And first, we have to connect our trigger application, that is Pabbly Form Builder, this particular form with Pabbly Connect. So that every time we receive a new form submission, we will get that form response, that form submission data in our Pabbly Connect workflow. And every time we receive a new submission, this automation workflow will trigger. It will start. So here in our trigger window, in Choose App, search for Pabbly Form Builder. Just select it. After selecting this, in trigger event from this drop-down, select the trigger event as New Form Submission. After selecting this trigger event, Pabbly Connect gave us a webhook URL. Now using this webhook URL, I'm going to connect Pabbly Form Builder with Pabbly Connect over here so that we can get the form responses from this form. So just copy this webhook URL from Pabbly Connect from this trigger window and follow the help text given below over here. Now to add this webhook URL in this form which we have created in Pabbly Form Builder, just open this form in edit mode and from the left sidebar, go to integrations page. After coming to this integrations page, click on this create webhook button and paste this webhook URL over here. And then just click on save. And when we click on save, here you can see that this webhook URL is added in our form, the same form which we have just now created in Pabbly Form Builder. As you can see over here, this was the form. Now here guys, after adding this webhook URL, we'll get back to Pabbly Connect and click on this recapture webhook response button. Just click on yes. and then it will change to waiting for webhook response. This means Pabbly Connect is waiting to get the details, some responses, some data from Pabbly Form Builder from this particular form in which we have added this webhook URL. So let's make a test form submission over here. I'll just open this form in preview mode and then we are going to enter the details of a dummy user. For example, the name of the person is demo user. This is the dummy email address of this user. Also a dummy mobile number. And then let's add the date of birth as well. For example, I would like to add the date of birth of this person as the year is 1995 and the date is 3rd of June and click on apply. So 3rd of June 1995 is the date of birth of this person who is submitting the form. Just for a reference, just for an example, we have entered these details. After this, just click on this submit button. And when we click on submit, you will see we have just now received a new form submission, a new form response in the form which we have created in Pabbly Form Builder in our Trigger application. And because we have connected this form with Pabbly Connect using the webhook URL, here we will see in our Pabbly Connect workflow in this trigger window, we will receive some response. And in this response, you will get all the details of this exact same form submission. Here you can see the same name demo user, you can see the same mobile number, you can see the same email address and also the same date of birth which we have just now entered while submitting the form. So guys, the step 1 of setting up this automation is completed. We have successfully received the details from our trigger application from the form submission inside our Pabbly Connect workflow. And we have also received the date of birth of the user. So we are going to add the condition on the basis of date of birth over here. Now after this, let's move to step 2. In step 2, what we have to do, we have to find the age of this user on the basis of this date of birth. That at the day when this automation workflow is running, what is the age of this person who has submitted the form. So what we are going to do, we are going to compare today's date, the date on which this automation workflow is running with the date of birth of the user which they have entered. And by comparing those two dates, by calculating the duration between those two dates, we will find the age of this user as well. And on that basis, we can add the condition that whether in which particular sheet in our Google Sheet, the form responses, that form submission data should be entered over here. So here guys, what we are going to do, first we will be introducing the current date, today's date in our automation workflow, the date on which this automation workflow is running. So we will just scroll down, come to our action window and here in choose app, we will search for date time formatter and just select it. So date time formatter is a feature, a module of Pabbly Connect using which we can add current date, change the format and the time zone of the date, and also we can calculate the duration between two different dates. So in the date time formatter has different action events in it. After selecting date time formatter by Pabbly, in action events from this drop down, we will be selecting the action event as current date over here. Just select it. Then just click on connect. After clicking on connect, the first thing it asks us is the basic format. And here in this drop down, you can see a list of different formats over here, that in which particular format we want the current date to be. So the format in which we have received the date of birth from form submission from our trigger application is of day-month-year. So we will be selecting this exact same format over here as well. So from this basic format drop down, day, month, year, this is the format which we are going to select. After selecting this basic format, it is asking us include time in response. That do we want to get the time in response as well? No, we don't want to get the time in response. So we will be selecting false over here. And then just click on save and send test request. After clicking on save and send test request, here you can see that we have received some response. And in this response, you can get the current date, today's date over here. So using datetime formatter, we have added the current date, the today's date on which this automation workflow will be running. And from the trigger response from form submission, we have received the date of birth of the user who has submitted the form, the lead or the user. Now what we have to do to get the age of this user, we will be comparing these two dates, the date of birth, and also we will be comparing the current date. We will find the duration between these two dates, and in that way, we will get the age of this user. And to calculate the duration between these two dates, once again, we will just scroll down, click on this add action step button over here. And then here in choose app, once again, we will search for datetime formatter. Just select it. After selecting datetime formatter by Pabbly, this time in action event from this drop down, we are going to select the action event as date duration calculator. Just select it. and then just click on connect. After clicking on connect, the first thing it asks us is from format, that in which particular format we are providing dates to this date duration calculator. So we are giving this date in this format of day, month and year, the same format which we have selected while adding the current date step over here, day, month and year. So we will be selecting this exact same format from this drop down. Just click here and from this drop down select this format of day, month, year, day dash month dash year. And after selecting this from format, the next thing it asks us is the date 1 and date 2. That what are the two dates whose duration we want to calculate, the time duration of what two dates we want to calculate over here in the response. So we want to get the duration between the date of birth which we have received from trigger response from form submission of the user and between the current date, the today's date on which this automation workflow is executing, it is running. So what we are going to do, we are going to actually map these two responses of the date which we have received, the date of birth which we have received from form submission and the current date which we have received from this date time formatter step in these two date 1 and date 2 fields respectively. And guys, the process of mapping is very simple. Simply click on this field and here in this drop down, you can see all the responses which we have received from previous two steps. So here in date 1 from the drop down from Pabbly Form Builder form submission responses, the responses which we have received from our trigger application, we will select and map the response of date of birth of the user. So whatever date of birth the user is going to enter while submitting the form, the same date of birth will be added in date 1. And here in date 2, we will map the response of the current date which we have received from datetime formatter, the current date at which this automation workflow is running. And after mapping both of these dates, just click on Save and Send Test Request. After clicking on Save and Send Test Request, here you can see that we have received the response. And in this response, you can see the complete difference between these two dates, the complete duration between these two dates. So the date of birth was 3rd of June 1995 and the current date, today's date is 2nd of June 2023. So here you can see there's a difference of 27 years, 11 months and 30 days between these two dates. And here you can see that because the difference of these two dates is 27 years, it is obvious that the age of this person who has submitted this form, who has entered this date of birth in form is 27 years. In this way, you can actually get the age of the user by comparing their date of birth with current dates. Like at today's date, what is the age of that particular person is. So the age is 27 over here. Here in result years, you can get the response of the difference of years in these two dates which we have mapped. So guys, the step 2 of this automation is also completed. We have successfully received the age of the person as well. That result years, this is the age. And this is the month and days response. There's difference in these two dates as well. But we will be just using this result years over here. That what is the difference of years in these two dates. Now after this guys, we will scroll down and we have to now basically create two different routes, two different parts in our automation workflow. So guys, we have a condition over here that if the age of the person is above 18 years or 18 years, then in that case, we want to add these details of the user in this sheet. And if the age is below 18 years, then we have another sheet in which we want to add the details of this user, of this form submission. So I'm just taking an example of sending this data, sending these details to my Google Sheet. Instead of this, you can basically create or set up this same kind of automation, this same kind of step for anything you want. Instead of Google Sheet, you can send this data on the basis of this condition, on the basis of age to any other application. It can be email, WhatsApp, or any application of your choice. So here we have the condition that if this response of result year is equals to 18 or more than 18, above 18 years, then in that case, we want to add the data in this sheet. And if this response of year is less than 18, in that case, we want to add the data into the second sheet. So this means we have two different routes, two different branches in this automation workflow. The first route is the age of the person is below 18 years. And the second route is if the age of the person is 18 years or more than 18 years, means this result year is 18 or above or 18 or below. So to add these kind of two different routes, two different branches in our automation workflow, we will just scroll down and click on this Add Action Step button over here. And then here in Choose App, we will search for Router by Pabbly. Just select Router over here. After selecting router by Pabbly, using this, you can basically add more routes in your automation workflow and you can basically add as many routes as you want. Right now in this video, we will be just creating two routes over here. So by default, it has given us two different routes. We can basically set up the first route and set up a filter condition for this route as well. That if this filter condition is fulfilled, only in that case, this automation workflow will run through this route. And if we set up a filter condition for route 2 and the filter condition of route 2 is fulfilled, then in that case, this automation workflow will run according to route 2. So first, let's rename these two routes. Just click on these three dots in front of it and click on this rename button. The first route is for age of 18 and above. So 18 and above. This is the name of this route which we are going to give. You can basically give any name according to your choice. And the second route is if the age is below 18. Below 18. So here guys, we have given these two routes their name, 18 and above and below 18. So here guys, we are going to first set up the route for 18 and above. That if the difference of years, if the age of the person is 18 years or above, in that case guys, what we are going to do, we will be continuing this route. We are going to run this automation workflow using this route. So here just click on this set filter and actions tab. And by default, the first thing it asks us is the filter. That what is the condition? What is the filter condition? On what basis this automation will decide that according to which route this automation workflow should be continued. So here guys, we are going to add the filter condition on the response of this years, result years, on the response of this age. That if it is 18 or above, basically if it is more than 17, then this automation workflow will be executed using this route. So just set up this, click on this set filter and actions tab. And here in select label, you can see in this drop down, you can see a list of responses from previous 3 steps. Right now in this automation workflow, we have added 3 steps, and from these responses of date time formatter, after calculating the duration of 2 dates, we have received this response of duration. So we are going to select this label of result year over here, that the filter condition is set up on this particular label. Then the filter type from this drop down will be greater than. So from this drop down, we are going to select the filter type will be greater than, and the value will be 17. So if the result, if the age is more than 17, like after 17, the age will be obviously 18, 19, 20, 21. In that case, this automation workflow should be executed further. So if the age is more than 17, like 18, 19, 20, this automation will be continued with this route. And then just click on this save and send test request button. Now, because in the trigger response which we have captured while setting up this workflow, we have received the response as 27. That's why it is showing us the condition is true, because obviously 27 is greater than 17 over here. So here guys, you can see that in this condition, if the age is 27, the automation workflow will be continued using this route of 18 and above. So after setting up this filter condition, what are the actions we want to perform using this particular route? So we want to add the details of this form submission in our Google Sheet, in this particular sheet of age above 18. So here just click on this add actions tab button, and because we want to add the data in Google Sheet, we will search for Google Sheets over here. Just select Google Sheets. After selecting Google Sheets, in action event from the drop down, select the action event which we want to perform. We want to add a new row in our Google Sheet, so I will be selecting add new row over here, and then just click on connect. Select the add new connection button, and here guys, we have to connect our Google Sheets account with Pabbly Connect. Now to make this connection, just click on this sign in with Google button. Here in this pop-up, just select your Google Sheets account in which you have created the sheet, and then just scroll down and click on continue. And as we click on continue, we will see our Google Sheets account will get connected with Pabbly Connect. After connecting our Google Sheets account with Pabbly Connect, the first thing it asks us is to select the spreadsheet. That in this dropdown, you can see a list of all the spreadsheets which we have created in our Google Sheets account, and in which particular sheet we want to add this data. So we want to add this data of form submission in this sheet named as new leads. And in this Google spreadsheet, we have created 2 different sheets. So we will be selecting this spreadsheet, new leads over here from this dropdown. After selecting the spreadsheet, it is asking us to select the sheet. So here we are setting up this route for the users who are 18 years and above in age. And for these users, we want to add the data in the sheet named as age above 18. So we will be selecting this sheet from the dropdown. Here in this dropdown, you can see both the sheets which we have created in this Google spreadsheet. And out of this, we will be selecting this sheet over here. Then here you can see that all the columns of data which we have created in this sheet, you can see all of those columns as fields over here. So what we have to do, one by one, we have to basically map the responses of form submission, the trigger responses which we want to add in our Google Sheet. So one by one, by the same process of mapping, we will just click here, and from the drop down, from form builder responses, from our trigger responses, we will select the response of first name and map it in this field of, in this column of first name over here. Then follow the same process of mapping for last name and other fields as well. So we have a field of email, and we have also received the email address over here. Then let's map the mobile number. This is the response of mobile number and also the date of birth. Here it is. So in this way, we will be mapping all these fields, all the columns of data which we have created in our Google Sheet. We will be mapping the data into their respective fields. And after mapping this, just click on Save and Send Test Request. Now when we click on Save and Send Test Request, here you can see that we have received the response. And this response seems to be a positive response to us. This response shows that the data which we have mapped over here, basically the details of the user which we have received from form submission, is now successfully added in this sheet in our Google Sheets account. So let's check it. We will go to our Google Sheets account, and yes, here you can see that in this same sheet of age above 18, for which we have created this route in our workflow, in this same sheet, this data is now successfully added. We are having the same form submission details over here. This means we have successfully created this route over here. Now, if you want, you can basically add multiple steps, multiple applications you can connect in this same route and create your automation workflow according to your choice. Now, after setting up this route for of age and above, now let's set up the route for age below 18. Let's click on this set filter and actions tab, and we have basically set up the filter condition of age greater than 17 in the previous route. And in this route, we want to get the age, like if the age is below 18 years, then we want to basically continue this automation using this route. So here in select label from the drop down, we will be using the same response of result year over here. And in filter type from this drop down, we will be selecting the filter type as less than over here, and the value will be 18. That if the response of year, if this response of age is less than 18, in that case, this automation workflow should be executed, should run, or should continue using this route. And then just click on Save and Send Test Request. Now guys, because we have captured the response of age, we have received this result year as 27, which is not less than 18. That is why it is showing us that the condition is false. That if the age or if this response of result year is 18 or more than 18, in that case, this automation workflow will not continue using this step, using this route over here. Now after this, after adding this condition that if the age is less than 18, then only continue this automation workflow, what we want to do, once again, we have to add the same Google Sheets tab. Just click on this Add Action Step button, and here in Choose App, search for Google Sheets. Just select it. After selecting Google Sheets, let's select the same action event which we want to perform and click on Connect. Now, because we have connected our Google Sheets account in the previous step, we don't have to make a new connection over here. Just select the existing connection and click on Save. After clicking on Save, let's select the same spreadsheet in which you want to add the data. So here guys, we are adding both of these details into the same spreadsheet, but in different sheets over here. But if you want to add the data in different spreadsheet, or if you want to send this data to some other application instead of Google Sheet, you can add those applications as well over here. So guys, the spreadsheet over here is the same, that is the new lead spreadsheet. But here in select sheet, we want to add the details of the user below 18 years in age in this sheet named as age below 18. So from this drop down of select sheet, this time we will be selecting another sheet over here. And after selecting this sheet over here, what we are going to do, you can see once again all the column of data which we have created in this sheet as headers over here. So one by one, once again from the Pabbly Form Builder responses, we will map all of these details over here. So we'll just map the email address as well. And the process of mapping stays the same while setting up this automation workflow. So we'll just click here, and from the drop down, map all of these details into their respective fields. And this time, after mapping all of these details, instead of clicking on Save and Send Test Request, just click on Save over here. And this step is saved. So here guys, we have successfully created this automation workflow using which on the basis of date of birth, on the basis of age of the user, we can basically decide that in what way we want to continue automation workflow or on what basis, on what sheet in our Google Sheet, we want to add the details of this user. The automation workflow is created successfully. Now, after creating this, we just want to test this automation workflow a few times. So once again, we'll go to the form which we have created. And after coming to this form, let's enter the details of a new user this time. This is the name of the person, test user. This is the email address of this person. And this is a dummy mobile number over here. And let's add the date of birth as, for example, 2010. And the month is September and 8th. So I am adding the date of birth of this user as 8th of September 2010. So by today's date, today is 2nd of June 2023, the age of this person would be something around 12 to 13 years. So let's click on this submit. This user is definitely below 18 years in age. So I'll just submit the form and this form is now submitted. And we will see as we receive this form submission, automatically the details of this form submission will be added in our Google Sheet. And here in our Google Sheet, you can see that in the sheet of age above 18, in this particular sheet, this user's details is not added. But here in the sheet of age below 18, you can see the details of the same user is added. Because the age of this user, the age of this person is less than 18 years. That's why we have created a route for users below 18 years in age. And in that route, we have selected this particular sheet over here. So in this sheet, we have added the details. Now, once again, let's test this automation once again. This time, we will be selecting age more than 18. For example, the name of this person is dummy user. This is the email address. This is once again a dummy mobile number. And this time, let's select the date of birth as, for example, 1975. The month is January, the 1st of January, 1975. This is the date of birth of this person. Means obviously, this person is above 18 years in age. Let's click on this submit button. As we click on submit, the form submission is received and we'll go to our Google Sheet. And here in this sheet of age above 18, you can see that details of the same person, the same form responses is added in the sheet of age above 18. In this way, guys, you can set up an automation workflow. You can add a condition on the basis of age of the user. Now here, guys, in this router step as well, we have just created two routes according to our requirement for age above and equals to 18 and for age below 18. If you want, you can basically add multiple routes as well. Like for example, if you want, you can basically add multiple routes according to the age gap of the person. Like if you want to set up a different route for people who are from 18 years to 25 years in age, you can add a filter condition that the filter condition should be if the result year is greater than 17 or greater than 18 and less than over here. So you can click on this add and condition button and you can basically add an and condition as well. For example, if I want that the filter condition, this route should be continued only if the age is greater than 17 and less than 25. So if we select this filter, this kind of filter over here, then in that case, if the age of the person should be greater than 17, like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. If this is the age of the person and this is the filter condition I enter over here, only in that case, this automation workflow will be continued using this step. So in this way, if you want, you can basically add and condition, or by clicking here, you can basically add or conditions in your automation workflow as well. And you can basically create any kind of age gap, age bracket according to your choice, and you can create multiple routes according to the basis of age as well. So not just these applications, you can connect plenty of other applications with Pabbly Connect. And guys, one more important thing. You will find the clone link of this exact same workflow in the description box below. By clicking on that link, you can actually clone this exact same workflow into your own Pabbly Connect account and use this workflow for free. Also, let me tell you, Pabbly Connect offers you a free plan. And in this plan, you will get some free tasks every month into your own Pabbly Connect account. So if you want to try and test this automation, you can do it for absolutely free.
If you have any kind of doubts or queries, you can post them on forum.pabbly.com. So if this video was helpful to you, you can obviously like this video, comment down your suggestion, and don't forget to share it with others. So guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you. Have a great day.